Greetings. I'm Cardinal Ignatius II. Michael Burhan asked me to fill in for him while he takes a bit of a sabbatical of sorts. And admittedly, I know nothing about his show. I know it's called a rather British review and that he talks about video games. I guess they are British video games? I don't really know. Well, if I'm to do this justice, then my traditional vestments, they simply won't do. Ah, much better. Let's do something about that background then now, shall we? Now we're talking. Let's see then, we need something decidedly British. Maybe one of the Carmerica games? A little too obvious. Something else. Aha! Thunderbirds. Perfect. What's up with this cover art though? I mean, look at this ship. It's not one of the Thunderbirds. Well, that's not a good sign. However, they did get the logo right, so we'll give it a shot. You know, it's funny. International Rescue's arch nemesis, the Hood, actually looks a lot like Michael Burhan, of all people. If they were to do another live-action movie, he could play the part. I'm sure he'd do better than the guy in 2004. I mean, I'm nothing against Ben Kingsley. He's a fantastic talent. And let's be honest, if he can take a character like Freddy from Freddy as FR07 and make him charming, he should have been able to do the same with Thunderbirds. I can't believe I'm making that reference, but then again, I'm only one of 5 people who ever saw that movie, and one of only 2 who actually likes it. My point is, he should have been perfect for this movie, but the whole thing just came off as a missed opportunity and was a far cry from the TV show it was based on. I realize I've gone off on a bit of a tangent, and you'll have to forgive me, but when else am I going to get to talk about Thunderbirds? When else will I get to talk about Freddy as FR07 for that matter? But I digress. This is Thunderbirds on the NES. Right from the start, this game gets it right with its fan service. It kicks things off with the famous countdown that began every episode of the TV show. Sure, there's no epic voiceover, but they would have had to use a digitized voice, and it just wouldn't have worked here. From here, we're met with an 8-bit rendition of the greatest television theme song ever. I mean, you could argue it, but let's face it, this thing is great, and this version, it just sets the mood. We're then taken to Tracy Island, where Thunderbird 5 calls in, and informs us that the Hood has a message, that he's going to bombard the Earth in meteors in 60 days, unless International Rescue turns over the technology for the Thunderbirds. And it's from here that our heroes set out to stop their arch nemesis. In a sort of Mega Man fashion, we're taken to a map screen where we're allowed to choose our mission. When you start the game, you only have 3 to pick from. 2 of them involve Thunderbird 1, 1 involves Thunderbird 2. This mission kind of gets me going. I mean, we find ourselves shooting down all these planes, and battleships, and tanks, and turrets, and the actual goal is to shoot down another huge ship that's under the control of the Hood. If he can afford all of these things, why does he want the Thunderbird technology? I mean, I get that he's a supervillain, but even by those standards, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, the gameplay is, well, a shooter, as you can see, and when I first played this, I thought this was strange. I mean, Thunderbirds, they're an elite team of first responders, and they made a shooter out of this, but it kind of makes sense when you think about it. I mean, you're going to make a game about Thunderbirds, what do you want to do? You want to pilot the vehicles, and at the time, this was probably the best way to go about it. Gameplay is fast but simple. You fly around, you shoot down your enemies. Now this game does offer you power-ups, and the way to find these? Occasionally, a red enemy will appear. Shoot them down and you'll get an icon. It could be an extra life, it could be an upgrade to your weapons, it could even be these orbit guns that'll fly around the ship and help you shoot things down. And one of the best things is if you beat a level, all of these power-ups carry on to the next level, even if you're using a different vehicle. This is a nice touch. It would have been easy for the designers to take the stance of, well, Thunderbird 1 got these power-ups. The next level's Thunderbird 2. They shouldn't carry over, but they didn't do that, and I appreciate this. The fantastic thing about using a franchise like Thunderbirds is all the different vehicles at your disposal. And you get things like Firefly and the Mole showing up. And it's still just a standard shooter, but it's a nice little distraction. For example, when you're in the Mole, in order to tunnel deeper and deeper into the Earth's core, you have to shoot away pieces of dirt and debris. I'm not actually a fan of these levels, because if you don't set yourself up just right, you can actually kill yourself very quickly. But it's a great idea, I'm just not very good at it, and that's my fault more than it is the game's. Not to mention that the game actually gives you a multitude of lives. The 60 days that the hood gives you, that's your life bar, although it doesn't quite work in the way you're probably thinking it does. You don't actually have 60 lives. Every time your Thunderbird gets shot down, you go back to Tracy Island, where Brains, who for whatever reason here is called Dr. Brain, it's a nitpicky fanboy thing, but it bothers me, but that's not the point. Brains will inform you that it'll take 3 days to repair your machine, and that's what happens. 3 days get removed from your 60-day counter. So, again, you don't actually have 60 lives, but it's a nice touch. And the game features a password save, so you can write this down, and then you can pick up where you left off from a certain number of days left, so you can't really hold it against the game. And in case you couldn't tell by now, this game boasts an incredible soundtrack. It's absolutely amazing. There aren't a whole lot of tracks here, but what there is brilliant. And it's a shame that when I hear people talk about the great 8-bit gaming soundtracks, nobody ever mentions Thunderbirds, because this is downright phenomenal, and I love it. You'll be humming these tunes all day long, and you'll want to play the game just to hear them again. Overall, Thunderbirds is a fantastic game, and if I were to give it a rating, I'd give it a 4.5 Don Frenches out of 5. I mean, the last one doesn't seem too happy about being cut in half, but the other 4 are looking pretty nice if I do say so myself. But that last 1.5 really comes more from the use of the franchise than the game itself, because at its core, it really is just another average shooter. But if you're a fan of that type of game, you're going to like this, and if you're a fan of that game and the franchise, you're going to love it. About the only bad thing I can say is how come there's no driving stage where you're in the Fab 1? If that's the only problem the game has, they did a great job with it. Well, that's it for today. For Michael Burhan, I'm Cardinal Ignatius II. Cusante stono lo boro lo migi la novo mondo. Or, as you chappies would say, cheerio.